A lot of people don't know this about me, but I love rhythm games. I love the music, I love nodding my head to the beat as I play. I even love when non-rhythm games will have a musically driven level in it. That's just mwah. And luckily for me, there's a new king of rhythm games on the block that you absolutely need to play, called Rhythm Doctor. Not just because it has a goated soundtrack, not even because it does multiple things I've never seen in a game before, but because it accomplishes all of that while only using a single button. Let's talk about it. The premise of Rhythm Doctor is that you're a new intern at a busy hospital that treats patients' heart conditions using rhythm therapy. And you do this by pressing the button on the 7th beat of a song as their heartbeat pulses across the screen. Why the 7th beat? Well, it's the name of the dev team, duh. But you'll quickly learn that this is easier said than done, because the songs try to distract you with flashy visuals or changing up the tempo throughout. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you've seen the trailer for this game, you know it mocks the potential haters that would say, oh, it's only one button, how hard could it be? Before showcasing some of the insane tricks Rhythm Doctor pulls. Sometimes you'll need to manage multiple patients and their different timings simultaneously. It may switch up the beat that you need to time the hit on, or as the first boss shows you, it'll go full glitch mode to throw you for a loop as much as humanly possible. This is the meat and potatoes of Rhythm Doctor. There's a ton of new mechanics constantly being introduced, but they have a pretty extensive tutorial system to make sure you're prepared before the actual stage. And these help each song feel fresh and like it has its own identity. From silenced beats, to holding down the button, to freezing the heart rate to make the trigger come one extra beat later. But my favorite level by far was 2X, where it switches to a windowed mode of the game and literally bounces around the screen in step with the music. I actually had to capture footage from my phone to get the full effect here, since it accounted for my dual monitors. That's definitely a first for me. And of course, this made me curious what it would look like on Steam Deck as well. Here they made a pseudo desktop that the window can move around on, complete with a folder of music that the patient has made because he's essentially a SoundCloud beatmaker in the story of the game. That's a great touch. You get graded on how well you perform after each stage, and need at least a B to proceed. But I like that it doesn't make you restart when you fail. Instead, it just breaks open the heart and a chicken pops out? I don't know why. But this way you can still finish out the song without punishment, so you can experience the whole thing and know what's coming before you try again. And if you want to really put your skills to the test, there's also alternate harder versions of each song once you clear the original. And these often put a nice twist on the formula to fully utilize each idea. It was around the third act that I also realized the second layer at play here is that Rhythm Doctor, while trying to make you as disoriented as possible, is also trying to teach you music theory and rhythm knowledge through its gameplay. Some of the mechanics simulate the feeling of syncopation, splitting beats in half or triplets, swing timing, and even odd time signatures. Yes, one of the stages makes you count in 7/8 to keep rhythm. You could basically drum for Tool if you master this game. Again, the difficulty curve is perfect and prepares you ahead of time before throwing you in the deep end. But man, it is so satisfying seeing all these different elements come together and combine with each other as you progress. By the end, I was cranking out dotted quarter notes, jazz quadruplets, and salsa waltzes without even realizing it. And the more you get into the groove of the music, the easier it actually is. It's more about the feeling than the visuals on display here. It turns out 7th Beat Game's previous title, A Dance of Fire and Ice, is very similar, and tries to visually teach you various rhythms and how to anticipate upcoming beats with the music. As their website says, they love making hardcore one-button rhythm games, which made me laugh pretty hard. It's such a specific niche, and boy am I in the middle of that Venn diagram. But on top of all this, what knocked me to the floor in amazement is that Rhythm Doctor is also a musical. Yeah, you heard that right. The whole package is wrapped up in a soundtrack and cast of characters that tells a story through its music. Like I said, this is a busy hospital, and you'll meet a whole slew of interesting patients, like a retired couple trying to rekindle their glory days, a politician who demands to be seen before anyone else because he's important, or an injured baseball player rehabilitating so he can return to his team. All of these are introduced with particular songs that end up becoming their theme of sorts, that return as leitmotifs as the story continues, and even meld together like a big show-stopping medley. I seriously can't overstate how impressive it is to accomplish the goals of various music theory auxiliary pieces within the songs themselves, while also tying them into the characters and their story arcs. Like a boy and girl who have feelings for each other but don't know how to approach it, then by the end of the song their heartbeats end up in sync as they share how they feel. Or a coffee shop employee getting heart palpitations as she tries to frantically get through the lunch rush. Probably the best example of this, however, is the boss song of Act 3, which sees Paige, one of the overworked doctors, trying to balance all of her patients' needs while also managing her own self-care, and eventually becomes overwhelmed with anxiety. The heartbeat of the patients doubles as the sound of her pager calling her to the next crisis, and you really start to feel for these characters and what they're going through. There's even a janitor you can talk to in between stages who essentially acts as the narrator, commenting on the patient's backstories and how the doctors are struggling to deal with all of the afflictions at once. It's so unique. And if it isn't the very first video game musical, it's definitely the first one I've seen that worked so harmoniously at tying everything neatly together with a musical bow. As if all of that wasn't enough, however, Rhythm Doctor has loads and loads of bonus content for those that just want more of this game like me. In the basement, you can play extra songs that tie in with other indie titles that 7th Beat Games has partnered with, which further expands on the base game's ideas. There's also mini games throughout, and even more if you can figure out the puzzle of logging into Ian's computer, and a 2-player mode for some co-op mayhem as well. Best of all, though, is the robust custom song editor, so creators can make their own remixes or original levels for the community to try out. It definitely was a little above my pay grade in terms of making some myself, but I love when games include something like this. It totally extends the longevity of a title when the possibilities are basically endless. Not to mention that the soundtrack in its own right is an easy 10 out of 10, and could have rivaled any other Game of the Year contender if I had played this when it first came out in December. I can't recommend Rhythm Doctor enough. It's around 6 to 8 hours long, which feels like the perfect length, and there seems to be something for everyone here. Even if one element doesn't strike a chord for you, there's bound to be another that fully leaves you in awe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay frosty, my friends. I want to give a huge thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video. In case you don't know, Manta Sleep offers a huge variety of products and accessories that help you get a restful night's sleep, including incredibly high-quality sleep masks that are so comfy you won't even realize you're wearing one, cooling cups that rest on your eyes as you sleep, and a white noise machine for those that want to help block out unwanted sounds, which is, let's just say, very helpful. If you're like me and have tried a bunch of other alternatives with middling results, Manta Sleep is the real deal, a cut above the rest. And if you use my promo code Snowman Gaming at the link below, you can get 10% off your purchase. So help get a better night's rest today with Manta Sleep. Alright, I'll see you later. Bye!